The dust is starting to settle on the gubernatorial and state houses of assembly elections in Nigeria. Since voting ended on Saturday and in some areas on Sunday, the elections management body, INEC, has been collating and announcing results from the various collation centers across the country. The last 3 days have also been marred by violence, intimidation of voters, and allegations of rigging. These disruptive events have raised questions about the legitimacy of some announced results in states like Lagos. Let's do a quick postmortem on security situation surrounding the elections. My guest is Oluwafemi Aratokun Ale. He's a security expert based in London, United Kingdom. Thank you so much, Olufemi, for joining us here.
Thanks for having me. And let me make it very easy for you. Call me Femi. That's fine.
Femi, great, wonderful. I like where we are starting from. But, you know, the core election season is over. Much of the 28 states that were involved in the gubernatorial elections have been announced. What impact do you think that this entire process since February 25 has had on Nigeria's democracy?
Well, you see, thank you for having me. And this is my very first TV station that's going to be calling me to come and discuss the issue of the security challenges that we faced in Nigeria as far as this election is concerned. Last year, we spoke about this threat that a lot is going to happen, but I think the federal government failed to understand that INEC refused to adhere to our own credible security analysis and solution given to them based on what will happen, how it's going to be, and what is going to happen shortly after the election. And we're now beginning to see results as a lot of things are actually unfolding in terms of the Nigerian 2023 election. This is equally very appalling. If we're to give them a scorecard, I think their score is completely below 50% at the moment because we did not, we're yet to fulfill the true democracy we're meant to achieve today.
But do you think that this may have tested the democratic process in Nigeria in such a way that perhaps in the next 4 years, when there is an elections, there would have been an improvement in how far the democratic process has gone?
Oh, come on, let us be real to ourselves. We're no longer kids in this country, and we're so learned. We're vast with education all over the world. We're well known. So this shouldn't be the case of, what have we learned so far? The case should be, what are we progressing, or we're just actually moving completely backward to where we're not even meant to be? We call ourselves the giant of Africa, but are we living up to the expectation of being called the giant of Africa in terms of what we want other African countries to do? This election has really showcased us that we are completely not yet ready to adhere to democracy. Yes, we are testing ourselves. Yes, we are moving forward, but the forwardness of the step we're taking is completely too slow to showcase that, yes, we know exactly what we're doing. Having said that, you can see what happened in so many states. You can see the voting intimidation. You can see what's going on online, and we can see how power is playing, how politics is playing, tribalism, and so much is actually playing a part in this election. And I don't really think it's the best so far.
I see. Now, on the issue of security, clearly things escalated in this much more than it did in the presidential election. So first, let's start with why you think that the security situation this time around played out worse off.
Well, I'm not going to use the word worse off. I'm just going to use the word it's actually not being carried out projected and strategically how it's meant to be. Well, let's start from this angle. If we're to look at the number of deaths or killings or wounded people, I think we have very low rates at the moment. But if we're to look at the escalation of violence, I think it's just across board all throughout. What is actually responsible for this is the fact that we have inadequate police officers, inadequate resources, and our police officers are not completely well informed as in what to do, how to go about things, and what they should do in terms of protecting lives and property. Not only that, working with other security agencies or security private bodies seems to be completely zero. So these are really, contributed towards the worst of, just like you said, in terms of the security challenges we're having in our societies today in Nigeria.
Vero, I want us to look at 2 or 3 critical areas and look at what the security lapses there were. I want us to look at a place like Lagos, Adamawa, and even Ondo State. What were the security lapses there?
Well, one of the biggest security lapses is this: INEC refused to put the right strategy in place in protecting the ballot boxes and the voters. And we can see how this has really played a part in Lagos State, especially when some set of people can actually come out live and tell the world that if you can't vote for our candidate or for our party, do not come to the polling booth. It shows one thing, that democracy is completely being tested here. And I can see our police officers not taking the right steps to do the right thing. Why is that so? Now it's for INEC, the federal government, and all political parties to now sit down and see exactly what they need to do so that such incident, such utterances don't repeat itself next time. That is one part. Then if we look at Ondo State, and if we look at the north as well, there are still some sporadic violence or rallies and protests going on all around. Why should that be? We call this a digitalized election, but what we're saying is manually created election and filled up with violence and hatred. So the police are not up to the scrap of what they should do. Even the so-called residents, the member of the public, are not equally helping because they are all helpless. They don't know what to do. So of it all, INEC needs to be blamed fully 100% with the situation on ground.
But what could be the fix for policing? Because on one hand, particularly in this process, we had the military carrying out some arrests. And I can't say enough that in a democratic process like this, militarization may not be the best. But again, they came in handy and undertook some arrests like they should. So what exactly would be the fix for the security services in order for them to better perform during the electoral process?
And you see, New Central Africa, I'm going to dissect it into 2 different ways. The first part is this. We need to strategically look at it that when our women go out to vote, how safe and secure are they? And when our men go out to vote, how safe and secure are they? Then the third part is this. When we have when we have the disabled people that is coming out to vote, how well secured are they? Now that brings me back to a one fixed solution that I think, personally myself, I'll be coming to Nigeria and will look for how best we can work together to have a good way of working in a crowded area like this. I will be coming down to Uyo, and Uyo seems to have played one major part in endorsing the fact that, yes, we need to have happy hour. Panache Global Africa is going to be there. So many agencies will be there. Some female security officers will be there to train to understand how to work around this. The question is this, how well protected is our ballot boxes? How well protected is our major people that are coming out to vote? We do not see anyone being protected. Rather, all we see around is threats and ballot box snatches carrying on all over the country.
Very well. So if I get you, Femi, you're saying that perhaps there should be a post-mortem roundtable for people to reassess, or the stakeholders, not just people, the stakeholders, to reassess how things went.
Not only to reassess, but to reflect back.
Okay.
They need to have a reflection, as in what happened, what went wrong, how did we get to where we are today, what could we have done better? These are questions they need to ask themselves, and this is why the reflection is so important on INEC, on the political parties across board, our security agencies, which are the Nigerian police officers, and also our politicians as well.
Very well. So from where you sit as a security analyst, do you think it's time that perhaps we took a second look, and by we, I mean Nigeria, the country, took a second look at the provision that disallows our security people from arming themselves at polling units?
Let me put it to you this way. I'm not saying that police or security should arm themselves, but there should be level of understanding and awareness program and an awareness training in simulating what people might probably bring on board to arm each other and how to disarm them. No one wants to kill anyone, no one wants to die, but the question is how do we disable people that want to do anything or disarm situation of threats that people want to carry out around this area? We can see a lot of weapons flying around, but the question is what are the police doing? How well protected is even our police officers that we're even talking about? What is their welfare like during and after the election and before the election? What provision do they have? No one just wants to stick their heads out and just take any risk anyhow. So somehow, INEC played a very wrong role and the federal government is not really helping as well. So the police are completely helpless and the private police, private security officers can't really do anything. This is why a retraining program needs to come on board. And I will personally, as a Nigerian, will come on board with so many groups to do the needful.
I see.
It's our country and we need to do it.
Very well, here's my last one for you. For states like Lagos, for states like Adamawa, and places where, and even River State, where, you know, there is a high contestation of the results announced by INEC, it would appear that whatever the outcome is, whatever the court process is, those who were announced winners, the governors of these states, would have to put in intentional efforts to reunite their states for peace and progress. What would be your advice to them on how to go about this? For instance, in a place like Lagos.
Well, I think what we do need in Nigeria right now is a reconciliation project and program. Without that, we are not going to move forward, and this might probably linger on for a long time, if not careful, till the next election process again that is going to happen in Nigeria. So the only thing I would advise Nigerians for is this: please, let's go around, protest peacefully, go to court peacefully, and let's see what the judiciary is going to say. Having said that, whoever is elected as the president and the governors should please look for a way of bringing in a reconciliation project or program to reunite people together. At the moment, many people in Nigeria are divided, and what we need to now do is look for a means, a program to reunite everyone together as one.
But again, I just want to know, this reconciliation process, I know you mentioned the government, but should it be the federal government's business, or should it be upon the one who's been elected to offer, you know, to extend that call, to extend that hand to the other parties?
Well, look, it has to come from one central body. It's not just from the federal government. If you look at the federal government, the political party within the federal government is more of APC. So what happens to all the other political parties? So they need to start it first. They need to bring forward a blueprint that will conform and make people happy. A lot of people are in pain, a lot of people are not happy, and even the jubilation is not like jubilation, it's more like protest and anger. So what we do need is both from the federal level, the state level, and the local government level, everybody should join hands together, even the Christians, the Muslims, everybody across the board should join hands together and see what kind of reconciliation program and project they can bring on, including our celebrities, our Nollywood, and all other forms of organizations that we have, both in Nigeria and in diaspora. We all need to come together and see what we can do to rebuild back a fragile and a broken country that we have today in Nigeria.
Sounds like everybody has got to be measured. We'll see how that goes over the next few weeks or even months, maybe even years, until the next elections. But thank you, Femi.
No, to be honest with you, we can't give it to be weeks or months. It has to be a
well, I think I lost Femi there.
This is exactly what I'm for. Right now, a lot of organizations will come on board and will definitely come and help the Nigerian society. In view of this, we need to wish everybody a good one and have a happy hour.
Well, you two have a good, well, this happy hour sounds like Umo's happy hour, but we'll leave it here for now, won't we?
Absolutely. I'm coming for the happy hour in New York myself.
I see. We'll leave it here. Thank you so much, Femi.
Thank you so much for having me.